Hello, I'm Dane. Happy Friday, and welcome to another episode of Dax Jutsu. In today's episode, we will discuss how to split a column into rows using a less manual way. Okay, so let's start with one that has only a single delimiter. So let me zoom in a bit. So our delimiter is a comma, and we have multiple commas. Some just in one column. Now, this is what other people would normally do. Before I begin, let me just add an index column. All right. Oops. Let me remove the other steps first. Okay. There we go. So now I've added the index. Now let us transform this by splitting this into multiple columns. Yes, transform and then split by delimiter. And our delimiter is, of course, a comma. Okay, each occurrence of the delimiter. So now we have split it. And the next thing to do is, of course, because we want these columns to be into rows, we have then pivot and pivot other columns. And now we have our column into rows. But this is quite manual. Now, we also have a problem with this one. Say, for example, I add another value that has, let me check, that has more than two commas. Let's see what happens. As you can see, this row 15 should have one, two, three, four, five. It should have five columns, but it's showing just how many? Three columns. So this approach is not really dynamic. And so how do we go about this? Let me duplicate this one and delete all the extra steps except for adding the index. So now what we're going to do is we will add a custom column. I'll name this custom column split, and I'll be typing text dot split. Yeah, split values. That's the column to be split, and the separator as text, or the delimiter in this case. So what this text dot split will do is it will create a column of split values, or a column of containing a list of split values. For example, row 1. So this is the contents of our split, of our list rather, 12.5, 43. And how about this? So we have 5 as what we want it to be. So the next thing we'll do is just to expand it to new rows. And that's it. So this one is pretty dynamic. Now let's go back again to our previous example. There is another way to do this, still using the splitter split by text delimiter function. So let's just copy this function. Look at that. And then delete these steps. So we are going to add a custom column and let's call it split. So what does this mean? So let's splitter or specs a delimiter and your code style. Let's just go to splitter text delimiter. So this is what it needs. So the delimiter as text, optional code style as null by number, optional CSV style as null by number. So our code style is code style.csv. We just copied what was generated earlier. And our delimiter is a comma. So, and then we specify the column to be split. Uh, Did I miss something? It's telling me there is an error. Let's see. Values. That was weird. And we still get the same result as text.split method. And we just convert this or we just expand this into new rows. And voila, that easy. Now, what if we have multiple delimiters? So, so we have multiple delimiters. We have a semicolon, a pipe sign, a comma, and a semicolon. Now let's go to the Power Query documentation and let's look for something that will allow us to use multiple delimiters. So we have text or splitter that split rather text by and delimiter. So it says delimiter is the list coastal CSV or coastal CSV. That's null by number. I'll just copy this and I'll create a custom column. And I'll change this into the column that I want to be split. And of course, I have comma, semicolon, and a pipe symbol. And I'll call this split. And so let's see. Yep. Now I'll just have to convert this or expand this into new rows. Okay. Now supposing we don't know what our characters are, what our non-alpha numeric characters are. In Power Query, you can actually generate a list of characters, both alphanumeric and non-alpha numeric. So I already have this query with me, and I'll just show you what it does. First is, let me comment that out. First is we have these all characters, which will generate the the characters with numbers 32 to 126. So let's return that. Let's check what if I change it to 200. Well, or actually more. But some of these might be usable, but the characters that you need to use depends on the culture you're using. It really depends on your use case. Let's just stick to 126. It starts with space and ends with excellent. Whatever that wavy thing is. And now from these characters, we need to remove 0 to 9, A to Z in uppercase, and A to Z in lowercase. So why is our 0 and 9 in quotation marks? It's because we need to return them as text. Otherwise, this will cause an error. Let's see. Let's try 0 to 9. Oh, didn't cause an error, but what happens if I get the difference between these two lists? Oh, it's, so basically, we still have 0 to 9. It's because this all characters list generates characters as text strings. And so 0 until 9 are actually text in this list and not numbers. That's why we need to include 0 and 9 in quotation marks. Okay, so going back, let me show you the, let me just show you the alphanumeric, show you the result of this list. So it turns characters 0 to 9, A to Z in uppercase, and then A to Z in lowercase. And then, of course, they are combined in one list. And now we use list that difference to get the difference of this two lists. So what happens is that all characters from all characters from all characters list that are not in alphanumeric list. And this is what we get when using list that difference. And the next thing we're going to do is we'll just feed this to our multiple delimiters query. So I'll just duplicate this so I have a copy. And then in the added custom, I'll just replace this with that alphanumeric list, alphanumeric characters. Yes, that's expanded. Here we go. Still get the same result. And let's check. Let's just test. What if we add another value that contains a character that is not in our original list of delimiters. I'll edit this. So let's say happy, sad, period, hello, hello, what else? Percentage, log, goodbye. And custom, and let's see. Yep. So that list is pretty comprehensive. So we have happy, sad, hello, love, goodbye. Or you can change it to hello, love, again. Let's make it a happy ending. And here we go. Well, thank you for staying with me, and I hope you've learned something. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. And again, thank you. Have a good one. Enjoy your weekends. Bye bye.